What's up everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood French Canadian, and today I'll show you a really fun Battle Mage build that is centered around the Carian Knight Sword. So this build is based around the concept of a Battle Mage character that can use melee attacks and defense, but also they can use sorceries. So it'll be based on the Carian Knight sorceries and weapon, which means we'll be using the Carian Knight Sword as our primary weapon, the Carian Shield in our offhand, the Carian Glintstone staff in our offhand as well as the secondary one, and a few Carian sword spells. But the sword has an extremely strong Ash of War, Carian Grandeur. As you'll see by the footage here on New Game Plus, I will be one-shotting and two-shotting a lot of bosses. And basically all the things we'll use, such as the talismans, the potions, and some of the sorceries will boost our magic power, including the Wondrous Physick mix we'll be using and the Terra Magica spell that you can put underground. Now the Ash of War by itself does a ton of damage, but with the boost it can do even more damage, and as I said, you'll be one-shotting some bosses. You can charge this Ash of War and it'll grow 3 times in size. Each step up will do more damage and it will have longer range, but it does take a while, leaves you vulnerable, and you can get hit out of it while you're charging it. And the Carian Knight Sword also has a unique R2 and a charge R2 animation, where the stance your character takes while charging will block incoming attacks and it won't stagger you out of it, so you can actually follow through with the hit. So that's really awesome. I really love this sword. So as for the spells, we'll also be using the Carian Phalanx as a means of protection and a way to open up a fight, and a Carian Retaliation as well. Now the timing on this takes a while to get used to, but once you get used to it, it's pretty easy to negate those incoming spells. Once you negate a spell, this will add swords on top of your head that will then damage enemies once you get close enough to them. So it's really good if you're fighting a group, for example. Now I chose the Carian staff specifically because it also boosts the damage on Carian sword spells, which will help when we're using Carian Piercer and Carian Slicer spells, especially if you put Terra Magica on the ground. Now the shield is really handy. I love using shields because they're really good for guard counters and just a general protection from enemy attacks. And I feel like with all of these things combined, this build is also really great for any beginner, you know, if you're a beginner to the Souls games in general, because of the versatility that it offers and the fact that you can use a shield at any time to block incoming attacks instead of rolling, which sometimes requires really good timing. So it's a bit less punishing to use a shield in this game if it's your first time playing. Now looking at the stats here, my character is level 150 and I have a 40 vigor, 40 mind because we'll be using a lot of FP, 31 endurance, 10 strength, and 10 dexterity to be able to use the Carian Knight Sword and the Carian Shield, and then of course 80 intellect for our damage. Now don't go higher because it's not worth it. 80 is pretty optimal damage wise. You can also spend more points in dexterity for faster casting if you want, so you could shed off some points off of vigor or endurance even, and get that dexterity to 20 and 25. The starting class for this was Astrologer, but you can also use Prisoner as well, and you'll already have a lot of dexterity, so that's perfect as well. So now that we went over how the build works and what it can do, let's look at where you can get all the things that I mentioned. Now to get this sword, you want to come to Liurnia of the Lakes, and I'm taking here the northern Liurnia Lakeshore side of Grace, and basically there's 2 trolls pulling a carriage, and they're like on this road, so they patrol this road. So we're just gonna go on it and find them. So as you can see, we're coming up to the carriage right here. And to stop any carriage, all you need to do is just like hit the trolls once and they'll stop. Now there's a lot of there's a lot of people here, but yeah, you just need to get on top of the carriage once it's stopped because you can't open it once when it's moving. So just dispatch all the people around here and hit the trolls for them to stop, and then you'll get the sword. So to get the Carian Knight Shield, you need to defeat the Moongram, the Carian Knight. So he's the guy, the NPC you have to defeat right before you go and fight Renala. So it's like on the way to the boss room, so obviously you can't miss it. If you want to cheese him, you can trick him into falling down the elevator shaft hole, but the easiest way to beat him apart from doing that is to just use any kind of ranged spells or ranged attacks, and it should be pretty easy. To get the Carian Glintstone staff we'll be using, you need to come to the Carian study hall right here. Take the study hall entrance inside of Grace, And this staff is going to be on the body, really close to the entrance. All you need to do is like go up this set of stairs and then the other one. And it should be on the body up right up here. I'll just ignore all these guys. So it should be right here. And we're using this staff because it boosts Carian Sword sorceries, which is what we're going to be using a lot of for this build. Let's go through all the spells we'll be using and where you can find them. So the first one is Glintblade Phalanx, and this one can be purchased from Sorceress Selin or Turtle Pope at the Church of the Vows, or even from Celivis, but this will only be available once you find the Royal House Scroll and you bring it to any of these people. The second one is a Carian Retaliation, so you can get this only from Celivis. Now it doesn't matter if he's alive or dead, you can either get it from him directly or from his bell bearing, and once he's dead and you bring it to the Twin Maiden Husks at Round Table Hold. But if Celivis is alive in your game, he will be right here in Celivis's Rise. The Carian Slicer, which is our less costly spell, again you need the Royal House Scroll, and you need to bring it to either the Turtle Pope, Celivis, or a Sorceress Selin, who is located at the Waypoints Rune Cellar if you haven't continued her questline. If you have, then she will end up right here at the Grand Library with Renala. Now the next one is a Carian Piercer. You will find that at Caria Manor. Then it will be right here behind that wall, so you want to take the main Caria Manor gate. Just gonna make our way back here. Basically, it will be dropped by a teardrop scarab. So all you need to do is hit it and you'll get it. So it will be in this area right here, but be careful, as you can see there's a ton of hands here and they're annoying. To get the last spell we'll be using in Terra Magica, you need to complete the Academy Crystal Cave. And by its name, you'll know that it's close to the Academy, so you have to go around it like by the water, and it will be right here. So I'll show you how to get there, it's pretty close. Basically, once you finish that dungeon, you will fight a troll, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's a giant actually. And once you defeat him, the door behind him will be opened, and basically you want to take that elevator up all the way up to the top, and you will find a ladder which will take you again to a higher point, and there will be a chest there, and that's where you will loot that spell. Like, make your way through all these scarabs here, and that's where the entrance is. And you'll need a stone sword here to open up the fog wall. I go through the talismans quickly because they're pretty easy to find. So you want to make your way to the secret area here once you have the 2 secret medallions. Take the consecrated snowfield side of grace, and be careful because there are some dragonkin soldiers that will bonk you freaking hard. So once you make it here, you see there's a gargoyle, and you need to summon another gargoyle and have him fight him. And your gargoyle doesn't have to actually beat him, just hit him a couple times and then you can defeat him yourself. And the seal here will be broken because you'll have solved the puzzle, and you'll be able to go inside and get the talisman. For Godfrey Icon, you want to make your way to the Altus Plateau. Right when you get off the lift, you want to go down here. There's a way you can get down safely from here, and you want to go in the Golden Lineage Everjail and fight the boss there, and he will drop that talisman. And next, the Magic Scorpion Charm. Basically you have to finish Celivis's questline to get this. So obviously you'll find him here in his Rise at the Three Sisters. His quest is pretty long and extensive, but once you finish it, you will get that talisman, or of course you can get someone to drop it for you, which is way easier. Lastly, we'll have the Shard of Alexander, which you can get from completing Alexander's quest line that requires you to get to the last area of the game, which is right here. And you want to go on the Dragon Temple lift, and then you just make your way on this rubble right here, and Alexander will be there. Basically, you talk to him, challenge him, fight him, and then you will drop that shard. For the Wondrous Physick mix, I will be using the Magic Shrouding Cracked tier, which boosts your magic attacks, all your magic damage. And I'm using the Cerulean Hidden tier, which eliminates all FP consumption for a short period of time. So you should have everything now to make this build. I've been meaning to make this for a long time after we discovered in my Discord that the Carian Grandeur Ash of War on this sword did a frick ton of damage, so I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more Elden Ring videos, there are plenty more on my channel. So have yourself a wonderful day everyone, and I'll see you all very soon.